It's time to cook with Susan Beck. Today we're going to make cornbread. Cornbread's another one of those things that I grew up not really caring for a whole lot. I think it's because we always bought those box mixes or the packages and you just like add water or milk and bake it. And you know, everything's just better homemade. And as an adult I decided that, you know, I actually do think I like cornbread. I had some really good cornbread at a barbecue spot in Dodgeville once and I was like, this is really good, and decided that, you know, maybe if I make it myself, it could turn out just as well. Well, I'm going to use a cast iron skillet for this, and one of the advantages of this cast iron skillet is that it can go into the oven. It also gets very, very hot when it is in the oven. So I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of coconut oil into the skillet. This will melt while my oven is preheating at 350 degrees. All right, so coconut oil, it's somewhat runny already and liquidy. It kind of goes back and forth a little bit. I use it with my cornbread. My husband loves to pop his popcorn with coconut oil. All right, so that is into the oven. My pan's gonna get very hot. Like I said, I want it nice and warm. On the other hand, my other ingredients have been sitting at room temperature over here. So we are going to be doing a mixture of liquid ingredients and dry ingredients and then incorporating them together. Let's see what we have. For my wet ingredients, I have a 1/4 cup applesauce. I'm going to use another 2 tablespoons of coconut oil, an egg, a cup of milk, and the honey. The milk and egg have been sitting out for a little bit so that they are at room temperature. Then for my dry ingredients, I have 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of cornmeal, a teaspoon of salt, I'm using kosher salt today, and a tablespoon of baking soda, which will make it rise. Into my bowl goes 1 cup of flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, and then 1 cup of cornmeal. That's what makes this cornbread. Cornmeal is just ground corn, ready to go. And then I will whisk that together. I've set my dry ingredients to the side. It's time to put my wet ingredients into a different bowl. 1 cup of milk, 1/4 cup applesauce, 1 egg, and a 1/4 cup honey, which pops nicely out of this measuring cup. And finally, 2 tablespoons of melted coconut oil. We will take that whisk and whisk this together again, making sure to beat the egg. After mixing my wet ingredients and my dry ingredients, I am just going to make a well, kind of a little hole in the center of my dry ingredients, and I will be pouring my wet ingredients into the center of that. Stir until all the wet ingredients are incorporated with the dry ingredients. And there is my cornbread mix. Now some people like to put real corn into their cornbread. I'm not a big fan of that, but if you wanted to add a 1/3 cup of some frozen corn kernels, this would be the time to fold those in. All right, time to get that piping hot pan out of the oven. Oh, this cast iron pan is very, very hot, which is just how I want it, because when I put this dough, this batter in, it's going to lead to a nice crisp crust. We'll have a soft breading with a crisp outer part. And with that honey and that little bit of applesauce, it gives it just a nice little taste of sweetness. You can see here where it's almost cooking on the sides already, where the batter touched that hot, hot cast iron skillet. All right, into the oven we go. Our cornbread will bake for 25 minutes. It's done. Look at that. It's just golden on the top. It's got just that little bit of a crack to tell me that it's finished. And with that oil, it's pulled away from the sides nicely. Let's cut a wedge out of this. All right. You using a serrated knife here, and I don't know, I always cut it in little wedges. Pop one of those out of here. As you can see, nice and moist, yet the bottom's got like a nice crispy crust. That hint of sweetness. Very good with the applesauce in there. And honey instead of sugar. I think I like that.